I got him. I got you, Bo.
I don't see any dots up.
He's resisting a lot of my stuff, guys.
Your health is going down really quick. Are you sure about this? This seems bad.
He's doing
me.
something.
I got him. You're gonna lose your healers down. I can't heal. I'm dead.
Oh no!
You feared yourself.
He put it back on me.
Hawkeye, you're in the lava. No, he's killing you.
Run back to us!
Oh, it's a disaster.
I'm just saying. This
Crap.
may have been a
Are
bad
we
idea.
ever gonna get any better?
Probably not.
Hello, boys.
Whoa!
Well, looky what we have here.
Back.
Of course she's back now.
Hey! How's it going, little puppet?
Looks like you boys have found yourselves in a bit of a pickle, which, honestly, here in the Red Ridge Mountains is pretty hard to do, even for you.
Wait. I said this is a fast forward. I thought it was a good idea.
There's a fast forward to the death zone. Highway to the death zone.
Of course, if Overpull Bill here pissed off the Blackrock Orc clan enough, I can see how you'd be in this situation.
Really? We're going there? How dare you? How dare you?
In the voice of Morgan, in the voice of Morgan Freeman, she's right, you know.
Don't pick on Bill. She does the best he can.
She's right, you know.
You know, you adventurers probably could benefit from a bit of a break. Rumors have reached me that you have discovered the wonders of the Kon-Tiki Lounge.
Ah, we have. I like that place better than this place, personally.
Yeah, particularly because it has drinks.
Now, if you believe it, legend and lore tells us that there exists a secret drink recipe that has the power to, how shall I put it, take you places?
What?
Ooh.
That sounds delightful.
That sounds fun.
The legend says that only the purest forms of all libations will deliver you from this location. Combine them then to the number 3, and each of you shall be set free. Good luck.
Wow. That was like a riddle.
Yeah, I don't
What does
get
she
it.
mean?
And that's it? She's just gone? She just leaves us here?
Oh, she just bailed.
Wait, what did she say?
Combine
The libations
pure
for free,
libations.
and it'll make you pee. Something. Wait,
No,
what was
it
it again?
combine the purest forms of all libations
Run up a tree
to the count of 3, to the number of 3.
to the number 3.
So wait, so what are the purest forms of all libations? Beer,
Run to the
wine,
T.
whiskey, right?
How about tequila?
Yeah.
Isn't tequila essentially whiskey?
In some cultures.
I gotta ask a couple. I have to ask.
So let's not say whiskey. Beer, wine, spirit. I think we need to go to the tiki bar.
Let's do it.
How? How do we get there?
I'm out of here.
I'm just gonna let 3
I'm
more
going through the
seconds,
door.
and then we're gonna release, and we'll see what happens.
Whoa!
Man, I like coming back here. This makes all that dying in World of Warcraft worth it.
It feels like home already.
Whoa! All right, Mr. Havana.
Where'd you get the plant?
What? I mean, I don't know. It maybe the power of the universe just sort of like extrapolated what it thought it was appropriate for us.
You swapped out your pipe for a cigar with a lighter that could probably get us out of this whole thing.
I'm just saying, it's not my decision. It's not my design.
Have you tried?
This is
Have you
just
tried
the way it
setting the
goes.
tiki bar on fire?
Would you like me to?
No.
Here,
no,
hold on.
No.
I can try. Hold on. Oh, I better not. A drink sounds awesome right about now. Speaking of which,
What are we drinking? So tonight we're drinking Left Hand Brewing Nitro Milk Stout. And it is a beer from Left Hand Brewing Company in Colorado. And it is a milk stout. It comes in cans and it comes in bottles. So, did we all get cans?
I got
You got a bottle? All right.
can't drink. It does say it's a milk stout,
So this is, it's a milk stout, so it's going to be a sweet stout.
I'm guessing this is going to be along the lines of KBS and Dragon Milk. Probably not as sweet.
Nowhere near as strong either, probably.
Awesome. Oh.
I'm betting it's going to be like, does anybody
If
remember?
it's not as strong, I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth.
Does anybody remember Mackeson?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I think it's going to be
Didn't you
like
like
Mackeson.
Didn't you like make a cereal out of the Mackeson? You
did.
You did the
Mackeson was my favorite milk stout of all time until they went out of business.
Yeah.
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 Bill, you're going to get a tick from that thing.
I there might be like an animal or something that's going to crawl through. I'm a little nervous. It's very difficult to see both of you guys.
What
but,
about, are you worried about monkeys?
I'll manage.
There could be monkeys.
I'm going to pour this thing.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah, way to make us wait.
Wow. Look at
Looks fancy.
I like milk stouts in general.
that. Yeah.
Stouts in general,
Well,
but
this
milk
is like-
stouts particularly are really
This is
one
like
of
the
my
third
favorites.
stout we've had on the show. Obviously, we all like
Yeah.
stout.
Well,
Stout beer is very good.
Mike and I both prefer malty beer. I know Mike really does. I don't like really hoppy
Really?
stuff at all. So
All right, well, let's taste it.
Cheers, everybody.
okay, by memory, I'm not sure that I would say this is as good as Mackeson, but my memory could be horribly faulty. It's been like a decade since Mackeson was even available, so it is good. It's very chocolatey, milkshakey.
Yeah, it's very stouty, like it's standard stout. I can see where the lactose is coming in, like a little bit of sweetness and like give it a little bit of creaminess, but definitely a stout.
I wonder how this is on an actual nitro tap. I bet you it's like ridiculously creamy and delicious, like a chocolate milkshake.
Yeah. So Dragon's Milk was great, but it does have it's got all the flavor of a stout, and it's got that creaminess. But I don't think this would, for example, mix as well if we added whiskey to it. I'm just saying, this is probably not the best candidate for that.
I'm not sure. Yeah, Mike and I are looking the same. Like, I would dump bourbon in this. That would be
Really?
good. Maybe my problem, though. Maybe I have a problem. Maybe I would dump bourbon into practically anything.
Maybe I have hot dogs dipped in bourbon are excellent.
I mean,
very good.
Bourbon and beans, Bill. You ever have bourbon and beans?
Well, I didn't say bourbon and beans.
Yeah, but
I said bourbon and hot dogs.
So what? So you put hot dogs in the beans with the bourbon. What's the difference? Bourbon.
All right.
Name something
There's
bourbon
your
won't
challenge.
go with.
I want you instead of
Vodka.
water, I want you to soak
Bourbon
your
won't go
hot
with
dogs
vodka?
in bourbon. I think
We might have a problem.
All right, so Left Hand Brewing Nitro Milk Stout. As a milk stout, this is a solid example of the category. I would think. Like, I would recommend this to anyone who's never had a milk stout and wanted to try it. There's absolutely, to me, nothing wrong with this. I'm going to say it's a solid 7.
What do you think, Bill?
I'm gonna say I like this beer, but nothing about it really stands out as unique and spectacular. So I'm gonna give it a 6 because I like it, but I like stouts generally. Would I choose this over Mackeson's or KBS or Dragon's Milk even? I don't think so.
You can't really compare. It's not fair to compare this to a KBS. It's a completely different beer, actually. A KBS is a stout, but it's an imperial breakfast stout. Is that not correct? And
Yes.
imperial means it's heavily alcoholic.
Well,
It's
yeah.
much higher. It's a stronger beer, and it's going to be a slightly different stout than what this is.
Yeah, but they do have very similar theme songs, right? Like the KBS theme song sounded like, how did that go again? KBS, it's the best beer ever. KBS, I'm running with the warlock.
Okay, and what's the left hand
And
one?
how did the Nitro Milk Stout theme song go?
I don't know, Bill. Can you tell us how the Nitro Milk Stout song went?
Nitro Milk Stout, best beer ever. Nitro Milk Stout, I love it so much. Nitro Milk Stout, it kicks KBS's ass. You know, it's
Wow.
very similar.
Man,
very, very
You're
similar.
right. Those are very similar.
Hey, do you know what?
Yeah.
Like chocolate and peanut butter contrast and collide and make a delicious mix. I wonder what would happen if we mixed KBS with Nitro Milk Stout and a 1 and a 2 and a 3.
KBS,
KBS.
Nitro Milk Stout, KBS, Nitro Milk Stout, KBS, it's the best Nitro Milk Stout, it kicks KBS's ass. Yeah!
Yeah, you know. I mean, I'm kind of down with the whole concept. Now, I wonder what would happen if we mixed KBS, left-hand milk stout, and bourbon. And a 1, and 2, and a 3. KBS is the best way to milk stout.
Everybody gets
love it so much. Nitro milk stout and KBS's ass. Woo!
Yep. I think we should do that, and then it's a perfect mix, and I'm happy with the way this has all turned out. Mike, did you want to rate this beer?
I do. I mean, KBS is more breakfast. This is more dessert. So I don't think it's the same category. I like them both. I'm gonna give this an 8 in the category because I like the little bit of sweetness with the stout. I like it.
Nice. All right. Sounds good. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your drink of the show. Woo. I'm waiting for the Congo to go up in flames over there. He's burning down the Amazon rainforest. I didn't
Are
realize.
you actually smoking that thing?
No.
Oh.
I was only holding it. I had no intention of lighting it.
What was that from?
That
what is that
that
from?
is from Macross/Robotech.
Captain Glove!
Yes, what is it, Sandy?
No smoking on the bridge, sir.
I was just holding it. I wasn't going to light it.
Yeah,
That's Captain
right.
Global.
That's right. That's right. That's
Captain
right.
Global, no smoking on the bridge. I wasn't going to light it. I was only holding it.
only holding it.
Yeah.
I was only holding it. Scramble all the fighters and prepare for combat.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real. They don't call them UFOs, they call them unidentified aerial phenomena. The several videos they're talking about were recorded years ago by fighter pilots. Then in 2017, they were made public by the New York Times.
Look at that thing. It's rotating.
Images of that rotating thing captured by U.S. Navy aircraft, sensors locking in on the target. Commander David Fravor saw it firsthand during a training mission, describing it like a 40-foot-long tic-tac, maneuvering rapidly and changing direction.
Bryce, I think you sent me a video of Joe Rogan interviewing I don't remember his exact rank, but he was an Air Force
Commander.
pilot.
He was a Navy pilot, and he was the squadron commander.
Yeah, so this references the what was this, 2 years ago when the New York Times put out the article saying basically UFOs are real and pilots know about them and like we have video and everything, and I was like, whoa, let me read that article, and it was pretty compelling, pretty amazing. And then you get busy and nobody else talks about it and you kind of forget about it, and then like you sent me that thing about him being on Joe Rogan, and so I watched it, and the guy is super credible. He is like even keeled, like this is not a crackpot or anything like that, and he kind of talks about it, and he talks about the very matter-of-factly like how they've been tracking them, and basically they flew at this thing. She covered him while he took a closer look, and the thing moved, and he was able to tell very first-person narrative of the whole thing, and it sounded absolutely incredible.
They got really awesome FLIR gun cams now, so
Yeah.
that those things can, once they lock on, they can just sit there and track things that are moving really fast, which that technology's new-ish to be able to do that stuff, so they got some pretty sweet video.
But like the fact that how is nobody ever talking about this anymore?
So-
like it seems.
So can I be honest? You guys are just gonna be like, oh sure, Bryce. Here's the only difference in this story as to any other story that's been told for the past, I don't know, 70 years, is that finally the military was like, oh yeah, that happened. That's the only difference. I can't tell
No,
you.
it's not.
I have looked at this stuff for practically as long as I've been alive, And there's so much more than just what this is. I'm not discrediting this. This story is great, but there's nothing spectacular about this story versus every other story that's out there about airline pilots and Air Force pilots and like credentialed people. They were up in Congress like 5 years or so ago.
Is something really out there? 3 more U.S. senators received a classified briefing about UFOs at the Pentagon.
And then about 5 years before that, there was a bunch of guys that testified and like laid it all out. And they were all breaking national security oaths.
First class United
My name is
States
Dwayne
Army.
Arneson. I served 26 years as a communication electronics officer
My
in
name
the
is
U.S.
John
Air Force.
Callahan. I'm a retired FAA employee. I was the division manager for the Accidents Evaluation and
My name is
Investigation
Don
Division.
Phillips. I was in the United States Air Force and had worked with certain intelligence agencies of the United States
These are people who have
government.
been inside the CIA, NSA, NRO, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Army, all divisions to the intelligence and military community, as well as
My name
corporate
is
witnesses.
George Filer III.
My name is John Maynard.
My name is Donna Hare.
My name is Carl Wolf. My name is Harlan Bentley.
And these are folks who have been involved in so-called black budget or covert unacknowledged projects.
My name is Charles L. Brown.
My name is Michael Smith.
My name is Robert Solis.
My name is Carol Rogers.
And they are sitting on technologies that can change the world forever.
Prepared to tell the story in front of Congress, and it is the truth.
And I will testify under oath before Congress that what I'm saying is the truth. To swear before Congress that everything I've told you people and everything that is here is the truth.
And that didn't make any news. And nobody did anything with those guys. My personal belief is that the government's known about this stuff for a long, long time. They don't know what it is. And maybe some of them do, I don't know. But by and large, they don't know what it is.
I heard the Joe Rogan podcast. On that podcast, he speaks like a pilot. He speaks no nonsense, very thorough. He uses terms. I mean, he's very clearly a pilot. So this happened, the incident occurred 10 years ago, and he was flying the F-18 Super Hornet, and he was the pilot, and he had a wingman. And like you said, Mike, the wingman was above observing, but each of them had a navigator, a weapons specialist in the back. So there are actually 4 people that had eyes on the object. And
this is not
what
unusual.
He describes,
This is not unusual. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, no, but what I understand. No, but what I'm saying that's unusual is the recounting of it.
No, it's
because
not.
on the Joe Rogan podcast, there were actually 2 people that were being interviewed. One was the pilot, and the other was that Jeremy guy. And I don't know if you guys recognize the Jeremy guy. That Jeremy guy is the same guy that did the documentary on the one engineer that was like at Area 51. Area 51.
You're talking about Bob Lazar?
Bob Lazar.
Okay, Bob Lazar is mainly seen as a liar, as a guy who's fabricating a story. So Bob Lazar is not a good example.
If you listen to the
witness.
Joe Rogan podcast, they were really giving a lot of credence to the Bob Lazar story. And in fact, I think that Jeremy guy that was on it exemplifies why people discount these kinds of stories, because he sounded overly exuberant. He reached for too many conclusions that he couldn't sustain. So, for example, he goes, "Well, it's very clear that this is a gravitational drive, and the gravitational drive is what's causing it to move without inertia." It's also hokey.
Of course it is, because
they're trying too hard. So, if you discount the other stories because people want it to be true, and so there's sort of that extra bit that they add to it, that the appeal, it becomes less real, it becomes less impactful, it becomes less meaningful.
What are you trying to get at?
The best part about this interview was this commander did not exaggerate. He was very cut and dried. It was very matter of fact. And in fact, they offered him opportunities to exaggerate, and he's like, I don't know. You can draw your own conclusions. These are the facts.
And what I'm trying to tell you is, for the last at least 60 years, there have been accounts just like that from people just like him, and the only difference is that this guy had the military back him up. There hasn't been a single case where the military has stepped out and said, "Yep, that actually."
Well, and
happened.
he had a front page story in the New York Times.
That's happened before
Yeah,
too,
I mean,
but it's often been spun very sort of quacky, right? So the stories
This
will
guy's
come out
all over the place. He's on pilot podcasts. He's on military podcasts. For some reason,
this is the most recent of a
is
long
all
string
over
of
right
these.
now.
But the difference is that the military actually backed it up, which is huge because they've been denying it forever, or just not commenting about it. So is the intelligence community forever. They're just like, no. It either doesn't exist or we can't confirm or deny. We don't know what it is.
I think the appeal of this is in the presentation, not in the authenticity from the U.S. military. I think the U.S. military may appeal to you because you're really into this. But for the vast majority of people who are not really into this, say Mike, me, this guy was awesome. And it made me really go, wow, this sounds actually true.
So you guys think all these years that these stories have come out, you've listened to them, but you always thought they were BS?
Some are BS.
Well, sure.
How do you know which ones are?
That's a different conversation.
But it's a I don't know. This thing landed on in the front page of the Times, which tells me there's a lot of vetting that went into this. When I listened to and I watched the video at the time on the article, and I was like, man, that's insane. And read the story associated with the video and everything. This was the first time that I actually heard the eyewitness, and it lended a bunch more credibility to it just based on his presentation. I'm kind of with Bill here in that it's not so much about the military. It's like this is a real live aviator, like business guy. Like this is what he does, and
he's super believable, right?
Yeah, like very believable. And again, he pointed out, he's like, I thought I was going to get shut down. Nobody seemed to care, so that's why I'm telling my story. If they told me to not talk, I wouldn't be talking.
Which is actually what I find most interesting about this. So two things. One, I should send you guys links to some videos that you'd probably be completely entertained by where this has happened, I don't know, countless times beforehand, but the government hasn't been okay with it. But you would find very credible people, from commercial airline pilots to military pilots and personnel who have told similar stories and seen certain.
Now, when you say the government isn't okay with it, the only thing the government is okay with on this one is that the video from the weapons specialist on the second mission, on the second flight. It wasn't even the one that the commander was in.
The follow-up one.
Yeah, but it's what
right.
It's
that
what
was
Mike
released.
Said. Nobody tried to stop him. That's what Mike said. Nobody tried to say, "Hey, you got a national security thing here. You won't talk about this." For years and
so
years
you're saying
and years.
all these other ones, the military has shut these people up?
9 out of 10 times that was the case. A lot of times it's some old guys who have retired who have come out and said, they've told me to be quiet about this for years, but I'm going to talk about it now because I'm getting tired of being quiet about it, and I don't think they're going to do anything to me, and they don't, right? So that tends to be what it is. This guy, is he still active duty? I didn't get that.
No, he's retired.
Why is nobody talking about this?
I don't know. I'd like to know the same thing because, like I said,
actually, a lot.
My entire life I've been looking at this, and nobody ever believes it.
I did see. So this.
But
did
you
make
guys
the front
are saying
page
things to me that what everyone always says to me, which is, oh, I've seen those things, but I didn't pay attention to those because they didn't have credibility. And now all of a sudden, this guy comes out and he has credibility. I get why some of that is. I don't think his story is spectacular in comparison to others. I just don't. I'm not debunking it. I think it's
believe
great.
You're David Duchovny. You are David. You want to believe.
Okay,
right?
I'm the guy who's like read this stuff for the past. I hate playing that card, but I'm the guy who's read this stuff since I was a young guy, and so I've read all of these accounts and looked at all this stuff. And you guys are like, I saw one New York Times article. It must be real. Where have you been all these years?
No, but I guess I'm saying we're not the only. It is pretty widespread. It is widespread appeal. This guy. Okay, look. Here's an interesting part of this story, okay?
Coming from deep undercover.
This is the cool part of this story, I thought, was the fact that the story goes, he calls it a Tic Tac, right? So a Tic Tac, but it's 40 feet. It's 40 feet large, and it's the shape of a Tic Tac, kind of like, I guess like a blimp almost, right? But it was rendezvousing with something in the water. The whole story is that he's approaching this thing. He gets routed over the ocean, right out there from where I can see, he sees it's a very calm day and there's no white caps in the water, but he can see in the water there's like a ripple as if the water is hitting something that's just under the water, like a reef. So as he approaches, he gets over it. That's when he sees the Tic Tac is on top of it, and then the Tic Tac starts moving, and whatever's under that water goes like down, like submerges, goes into the deep. And then he has the encounter with the Tic Tac.
Would you believe me if I told you that is also a common account? They even have a term for that, unidentified underwater object. They see these things coming up and down from the ocean.
He's a crackpot.
Let me tell you, my varied research, I've known everything about UFOs. In fact, as we know, those things under the water, they're called unidentified water objects. Dolphins, they speak dolphin, which I do. I've learned the language.
Do you know?
And that was for hello in underwater object language. And
you know, all right, laugh all you guys want. I don't care. Y'all take. Let's take it from. Let's just treat it like this. The first time UFOs can ever be taken seriously. There's never been a story like this. Oh my God, I was blown away. I've never heard of a pilot ever saying anything like this. Oh my God, someone saw a UFO over the water that linked up with one that came up from under the water. Fucking mind blown. So yeah, I've never read that or seen that. Amazing.
This is what I've been trying to tell you.
So
these
now,
things are real. They look like Tic Tacs. There's another one that's the Milky Way. That's why we call it the Milky Way, because it looks like the candy bar. You see, that's the whole idea.
So considering this is all true and no one's ever heard of this before, one, what do you guys think it is? I
think we gotta get on that UFO bandwagon and start talking about it on this podcast.
That's right. We're changing the format of the show.
You guys are horrible. It has nothing to do with like learning the truth. But when money comes to it, we can monetize the UFOs. Right. I really didn't care about all those crackpots until it was on the Joe Rogan show. But now I see ka-ching, 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 dollar signs. I'm gonna sit here and start talking dolphin alien.
Come on, I know all of our viewers would love to hear more about this.
Oh, they do. And half of them are sitting there going, oh, Mike and Bill.
Yeah. Bryce is totally right on this. I've been emailing him about this. Who didn't told Bryce about this? For God's sakes. I mean, I've been saying the Mandalorians.
Is it a UFO or is it like a drone or what do you guys think it is?
Well, on the podcast, they actually tried to draw some conclusions, right? So, conclusion number one is it's clearly,
I think it's clearly an anti-gravitational vehicle based on its inertial dampening
you can't go there. That's just true speculation. So, the fact is, it appears it's technology that's beyond what we have and what we had 10 years ago. So even we've advanced 10 years since those guys saw that technology.
But what does that do? So, what does that do to you guys if you believe that's true?
Unlikely. It seems highly unlikely that there is a civilization on Earth that has that technology. It's not the Chinese, not the Russians, not the U.S.
So it's aliens.
So what is it?
It's aliens? Is that what you're saying?
Well, okay. That is.
He doesn't want to be.
This
is such a politician answer. It's like he is like a politician right now, just square.
It could be alien.
What is your healthcare plan? What is your tax plan?
I'll give you an answer. It could just as easily be aliens as it could be some other mystical force, or it could be something other spiritually, or it could be something. I mean, why not? It could be
Mike,
aliens is just like X. We don't know what it is, so it could be anything.
I grew up on X-Files, so yeah, it
seems likely. Right.
Yeah. So would either before this dude came out with this story, would either of you been completely shocked if? And I don't mean shocked like you're not concerned.
If you revealed yourself to be an alien on the show, I wouldn't be that shocked.
Yeah, I should do that effect.
I wouldn't be that shocked.
to the V baby.
We are here.
You remember the V baby with the tongue, and then you're pulling it off. It's like, would either of you been shocked if, like, tomorrow on the news, a bunch of like alien ships showed up over the major cities or something? I don't mean shocked, like not scared, but would you be like, yeah, that seems like that's been leading up to that?
I've always thought that. I think the universe is like the space, It's millions of planets, billions of planets, and like I have a real hard time just thinking, oh yeah, this is the only place that there's any kind of intelligence. Like,
it seems like hubris to think that, right? I mean, to think that we are the only ones out there, it just seems like a conceit. So it'd be surprising, but it wouldn't be. And I mean, so much of pop culture has prepared us for, like you said, Mike. I mean, you grew up on X-Files. We all grew up on X-Files and watch it, and we've seen Independence Day, and we've seen The Day the Earth Stood Still, and like all there's so much of the social zeitgeist that has prepared us for what's going, this possibility.
And do you think that's been by accident, Bill?
The pump has been primed.
Oh, William, I just want to share all of the knowledge I have. Just like dump it on you, and be like,
this is what I've been trying to tell you for years.
Yeah, do you know
the entire social thing?
Yeah. Well, one thing's for sure, this is a topic that would go way too long to talk about in one night, but we should definitely revisit, especially if there's more that comes of this. Like, I'd personally like to see the government open up the books on a lot of these things that they've been tracking over the years, and I think, here's my personal belief. My personal belief, as far as the government goes, is that while there might be some people who know a little bit more, my suspicion is that all these years they really don't know much, and that is actually scarier to the public than it would be if they were sitting on something. I think if they have a revelation, the revelation is going to be along the lines of, these things have been showing up since the late 40s, maybe as early as World War II, in a large wave. We don't know what they are. We don't know where they come from. They have technology that far surpasses anything we have, and they seem to come and go as they please, and we can't stop them. Which is scary if somebody says that. Because you want to think that you're in control and that your government can deal with it, and if they come out and tell you,
So I'll speak about me. Like, as I get older, as I grow up, and as I understand how the world works, and as I understand, my own craft and technology and everything, like, I'm surprised anybody knows anything about I'm surprised anything works. I'm surprised planes stay in the air. Like, I'm surprised, like, all this stuff. So it doesn't surprise me as much at age 46 that the government doesn't know shit about this. Like, and so I guess my question is that an assumption that everybody expects the government to know, or is it really everybody over a certain age is like, yeah, they're not gonna know? Like,
actually, I think in the circles of people who generally follow the UFO stuff, my vibe is that it's more like what Bill said. It's people being a little bit too exuberant with thinking that, like, the government or some shadowy power knows everything and is sitting on, like, massive information, like where they're meeting with aliens and, whatever, right? Actually, there's my favorite book about this topic was a book by a colonel in what was the Army Air Force early on, and his name is Philip J. Corso, and he wrote a book called The Day After Roswell. And in that book, he tells his account, he's verified that he was there, he was an intelligence guy in that, so everybody knows he's real. It's whether or not do you believe his story, right? So he wrote this book, and his account of Roswell matches pretty much every other account of Roswell as far as what happened. Something crashed, they found bodies, they collected pieces, etc. But where his account differs...
I saw that on X-Files.
Well, it's the story that's been out there forever in one way or the other. But his account differs in the sense that it becomes actually kind of comical, and it seems very plausible to me. The thing crashed, it leaked out into the public media. Immediately, it hit the airwaves on the radio stations. It went out to the press. They couldn't stop it. They started saying, no, it's a weather balloon. No, all this stuff happened, trying to cover it up. They couldn't do it. The pieces that they recovered ended up going to about 6 different air bases. They lost stuff over the years. They lost one of the bodies. The Navy fought the Air Force for stuff. The CIA swept in and tried to get stuff. There were fights over the stuff. The stuff got leaked out to corporations that used it to build some, like, basic technology. And at the end of the book,
like Tesla?
No, super basic stuff, like circuit board type
like Atari.
stuff. Not even that. And no, they said at the end of the book, they were like, we've gone all these years and they still aren't able to figure out the basic like premise of even the propulsion system, right? So,
well, I'll tell you, it's a gravitational drive that it doesn't adhere to the laws of inertia because it's here and then it's there. Well,
but that book was convincing to me from the standpoint that it seemed plausible that all the organizations would just mess something that monumental up, and everyone knows. Like, it's not a secret at all. We all know what happened because it's leaked out. They can't cover it up, and everybody in the thing's all talking about it, and they have been for years.
Tell me this. So Bob, I don't even know who Bob Lazar, but he obviously became discredited over the years. What was his driver for doing this?
People just think he was an attention seeker, if I'm remembering it correctly. He's a guy who said he worked at Area 51 and saw.
See, he was saying that he worked at Area 51, and I'll tell you, he actually did some work on the various spacecraft. But what he was saying was completely. Sorry,
Bill.
It was completely debunked. It was completely debunked by Bob Forsyth, who was really the preeminent authority, who wrote not a book, but more like a graphic novel, which I think is a definitive source material on alien technology.
You brought that plant on as a last minute addition. It's been like the key piece of the whole show. That's awesome.
It's just the way these things are. That's just the way it goes.
Well, speaking of UFOs and aliens, I know another way we can talk about aliens, like Wookiees and like Mandalorians and like those little Nemanum dude who half drove the a big hi.
Who was next to Lando on the Millennium Falcon.
The guy that looks like a fish, like a carp.
He's got like the long, like the
No,
jaws.
that's the calamarians.
No. Mike's got the right guy. His name was like Neenum or something on the action figure card.
Hey, Mike, let me ask you. You've got little kids. Are you gonna subscribe to Disney Plus?
I already did. I actually joined. I joined the XCD or whatever club, so you got the discount on 3 years. So I paid like $140 for 3 years.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have little kids.
I am a little kid right here. The little kid's right here. Right here.
When my
they got Marvel shows, they got Star Wars shows.
Yeah.
Who knows what else they're going to do shows. So, I mean, like,
See,
I'm in.
Mike,
I don't
when my
care.
kids were little-
Big
when
evil
my kids were
corporation
little, they
making
couldn't-
awesome stuff. Well, let's talk about the key thing that's going to be on Disney Plus that everybody's excited about. It's The Mandalorian.
Well, it does look pretty badass.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So, I mean, what else? If there was nothing else on Disney Plus but The Mandalorian, would you still get Disney Plus?
Yes.
No.
I didn't get CBS for Star Trek Discovery. I did not pay for that because Star Trek Discovery looked like a hollow shell of Star Trek. But The Mandalorian, the teasers alone, got me to a point where I was telling everybody I hate Star Wars, and the truth is I don't hate it, I love it. And that's why I hate it, because you hate the things you love the most. And so I saw that trailer, I saw 2 or 3 of those Mandalorian trailers, and I got my hope back. As Princess Leia says at the end of Rogue One,
wait, A New Hope? Is it A New Hope?
It was A New Hope! But I loved Star Wars, and then prequels happened, and I loved it less, and then the new stuff happened, and I started to hate it.
I remember the first 3 Star Wars. Like, I remember bits and pieces of
And by first 3, we're talking the originals.
Yeah, 4,
5, and 6.
4, 5, and 6. And then when the prequels came out, because they came out next when we were in college, it was essentially like Jar Jar and everything. I went and saw him and was kind of like, yeah, no. And then like I don't remember hardly anything about any of those stories. And then even like the last batch, like outside of the last one I saw around Rogue One, that one I remember more. But the rest I don't even hardly remember those. Like they're just not that memorable to me.
No, they're crappy. You know why it wasn't memorable? Because it's all derivative. It's either derivative or dismantling of the original vision. It's one or both. No.
I think it's
Yeah.
Mike said why it's not memorable for him is because he kind of remembers the original 3.
I will say this, I remember Rogue One. You know why I remember Rogue One? Because
it was a good movie.
Dark.
Yes,
it was dark.
Yes, it was a good movie. Yeah. It was a great movie.
Rogue One is the only
when
new
Darth
one.
Vader goes insane at the end and he just like cuts everyone down. I mean, what an awesome scene that
I just watched that again not too long ago. Rogue One is the only new one they've made that, in my opinion, fits with the canon. Like you watch Revenge of the Sith, and then you watch Rogue One, and then you watch A New Hope, and that movie is great. It's perfect.
You want to hear something else funny? Like my daughter, I was with my daughter, and I was like, I got done, and I was like, whoa. What'd you think? And I asked her, she goes, it was pretty dark. I was like, yes!
Look, I could quote you many lines, practically whole entire scenes of that original trilogy. I've seen it a million times. It had an impact on me. Like, I always wanted to be Luke Skywalker. That was my guy. I related to him. I wanted to be him in the movie. I mean, that's my guy, right? And then the prequels come out, 1, 2, and 3, and like you said, the first thing you said was Jar Jar. And you're right, like, goofy, they interject new characters. Obi-Wan is kind of younger, you get to see Anakin before he becomes Darth Vader. Then J.J. Abrams made number 7, right? And that was just pure nostalgia, right? I mean, it was kind of aping so much from the and
that was a lot of the problem. That was a lot of the problem.
Some people hate that.
Yep.
Some people hate that. Some people are like, oh, I'm down with the whatever. But
see, because I liked the character, the new characters in the J.J. Abrams verse, like Rey and Finn and Poe. All 3 of them are good. I like all 3 of them, but I think now,
I mean, she's still kind of a Mary Sue, you know,
she didn't bother me in the first one because I assumed that they were going to evolve her character and you were going to find out reasons why she was who she was, and they blew it all up and they just took a big dump on everything. They destroyed Finn's character. I mean, they alluded.
They alluded in that movie. They alluded to so many things, storylines that they were going to, that they were going to explore more in the new movie, and then the Last Jedi came out, and they took Luke Skywalker and they destroyed him. I mean, they completely destroyed that character. So I found it personally insulting.
I think a lot of people do.
So many people believe that the entire franchise went off the rails. Not just off the rails, but I mean, it just destroyed Star Wars, that last movie. Is it possible that this new movie could somehow be good in some way? Like, could it bring any of us back?
I will tell you this. I'll tell you, if they started the new movie and you walked in the theater and the first 3 minutes is like a brief, like, dreamy recap of what happened in the last movie, and then it's like Luke is like this. He's like, yeah, I have to save my friends, and then we just like toss out the whole second movie as a bad horse dream. I'd be like, thank God, Star Wars is saved.
He hops in a snow speeder and goes across the planet.
Yeah. Hells yeah. I'd be like, I don't care. I just don't care.
I don't care as long as they wipe away that last movie.
Yeah. And honestly, the worst part is when I saw the 3rd trailer I think they put out, I was like at least watching J.J. Abrams' new stuff, and I was like, I really want to believe in this, but it's so hard. And then they showed that Rose Tico chick from the second one. I'm like, no!
And I'm like, I'm out! I'm done.
God, she's the worst. Yeah.
Yes. Wait, which one? Which girl?
The girl that was like fawning after Finn the whole second movie.
Finn.
The Asian girl.
Yeah, and the thing about her that sucked primarily was that, so here's Finn, right? This guy who was like a stormtrooper dude who never had anything really to live for. So he leaves the First Order, he joins the rebellion or whatever the hell their name is.
He's an interesting story. I think he's got an interest. He's an interesting character.
And so he gets into the second movie, and he finally gets to a point where he has now something to sacrifice himself for. He believes in something enough to die for. And at the end of the movie, he's faced with this impossible situation. He's in this little goofy land speeder thing, and he has the ability to like take out that big laser weapon that's going to break into the Hoth base. And he's going to like ram it. He's going to sacrifice himself, and it's his hero's moment. And here comes Rose Tico, and she takes him out of the thing. The freaking door comes down. They annihilate the whole rebellion. And Finn and her on the ground. She's like, "I saved you because we want to fight for love."
See, I didn't even remember that.
You just toasted this guy's hero journey. Why would he ever want to be with you now? You suck. You kill. How many people did you just kill? Horrible.
So how about this? So yeah, we're all sitting here railing against it, and that's fun. But really, what about the Utes? Like, do they like this version?
When The Last Jedi came out, it came out, like on a Thursday at midnight sort of thing, and there was a school event, and I went to the school event, and I couldn't wait to go see the movie, so I just went and saw it. Like, and even though the whole family, we were going to see it on Saturday together, I'm like, I can't wait. I just got to go see this movie.
You just
so I went
snuck in.
Yeah, so I snuck out, and I saw it at like 10 o'clock at night. And I came back. My wife wakes up. Hey, how was the movie? And I go, I don't know. I don't know how the movie was. Like I was like shell shocked. Like I just couldn't. I'm like, I don't know. And then I saw it with the whole family. And at the end of that, I go, what do you guys think? They go like, I don't think we liked the movie. Like none of them liked it. And I go, yeah, you're right. Like I think I actually hated that movie.
You would have thought with me, like somebody just broke into my house and like slapped me in the face with a 2x4. Like I went to dinner with my wife after we saw the movie, and we're like sitting at Chipotle eating a burrito, and I'm just like ranting. I'm just like foaming at the mouth, and this and this. And they did this, and they're just toxic that, and blah, 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 that, and SJW this, and I'm just like, I hate this whole world, I hate this whole culture,
just like,
I hate everything that's been, millennials have ruined everything.
Okay.
She's like, it's just a movie.
No,
and you're like, it's not just a movie! This is my childhood, for God's sake!
Calm down. She just reaches across, puts her burrito down, and she's like, okay, boomer. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they can save it. I'd like to hope, but my hope is thin. But the Mandalorian, I don't know.
See,
maybe they could
that's
Rogue One that, because Rogue One.
That's
was
what
legit.
I'm saying. Like if Rogue One was great, I have high hopes that Mandalorian's going to be great. So they know how to do things that are great, I think.
The guy who's running Mandalorian is the dude who made the Clone Wars and Rebels cartoon.
Oh, it's Jon Favreau.
No. Favreau's the guy who's directing at least the first one and executive producing stuff. It's that Dave Filoni guy who is also, and he's like a writer on a bunch, and he's the guy that did all the
Clone Wars is great.
Clone Wars at least understands Star Wars, and Dave Filoni in the Clone Wars animation made the prequels a lot better. If you watch the prequels and then you watch the Clone Wars, you're like, oh wow, these are a lot better than I thought they were. And Lucas had something to do with that too, and now when I look back at the prequels, even though I recognize that they're flawed, I at least now look at them and go, man, compared to the new ones, Lucas was being creative. Lucas was still world building. He still had some neat ideas. His whole thing about how Palpatine rose to power and the way he used the politics to it was actually pretty smart. And
I mean,
it wasn't
therefore,
great,
the whole
but
midichlorian thing that you just jettisoned in the very beginning. I mean, okay.
Well, I also jettisoned the part where it's like, I don't like sand. It's coarse and harsh.
It gets in everything.
It gets in everything. Not like
it
you.
gets in everything.
It's not
I don't
soft.
like it.
What's that from? Not like you.
It gets everywhere.
I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere. Not like here. Here everything is soft and smooth.
And we're supposed to believe that Padme is like into this creeper. Like, what the heck? She's like the whole time. She's like 10 years older than this little kid. And he's like creeping on her the whole time.
The worst dialogue scene is when they're in the front of the fireplace, you know,
Oh, yeah,
and he's telling her, "Oh God, that is." Just go back and watch that.
No, but think about that. They go from the fireplace scene, and then she's like, "Okay, Anakin, I guess I'm with you." Then they go back to Tatooine, and he gets like a rage moment. He wipes out a whole tribe of like natives, and then he comes back. It's all Obi-Wan's fault. He's holding me back. I'm
That's
like,
right,
what
that's right.
woman goes for this? And then in the third one, she's like a pregnant housewife. She's just like does
pretty
nothing.
much.
Now she's like lost all her strength, and she's just like, Annie, I'm just stuck in the apartment all day. I can't make any decisions.
So anyway,
I miss where Clone Wars was a movie. Is it a movie?
No, Clone Wars was a animated cartoon
all right.
series.
So you can
It's
actually
both. The Clone Wars
whole
was
series.
actually the second movie, the Clone Wars, or it was called the Attack of the Clones. That was the beginning of the Clone Wars, and then they had an animated series that was the time between movie 2 and movie 3, where they did the whole, where they're actually fighting the Clone Wars out in space. It's like the robots versus the Jedis and the Stormtroopers. And
Mike,
the Stormtroopers were
I'd say
on
like
the same
2/3
team.
of it is adult and good, and 1/3 of it is super kiddie. But the
And
2/3
the
it's
Clone
adult
War
and good
animated
is really
series. The problem with the animated series is that there's a lot. There's so much, and the 2/3 that he's talking about that's kind of kiddie. I mean, that's hours and hours and hours of stuff.
Yeah.
That you kind of, but it's the 1/3 that's good is so good.
I was in
Because there's
a
actually-
fight with somebody the other day about it was one of these whole there's no strong women characters anymore, and we need to make more. And so I'm like running off a list of like awesome strong women characters, and I say Ahsoka, and they're like, who's that? I'm like, dude, that character was awesome.
She's awesome.
And she was
She
created
is
from
awesome.
whole cloth. She didn't come sprung from some other character, and she didn't need to like take the mantle of another character to be her own character. She was dope. Did you see the
That's
stuff
what
in
I was gonna
Rebels where
say.
she confronted
In Rebels,
Vader? It was awesome.
Yeah, that's another one where they distilled down all the Ahsoka moments in Rebels, including where she fights Vader, and it's fantastic.
I still remember
Fantastic.
Jen and I were on the couch watching that episode when like she's in that temple or whatever, and Vader shows up behind her, and he's like, Ahsoka.
It's sad.
Oh,
It's sad
Padawan.
because that's
and we were both like, oh, it's on.
It's so sad because that's Anakin, and they had that relationship, you know, and he was her, you know, mentor, and right, and so now she has to. Oh, it's brutal,
but it's
dope.
emotional. It's dope. She was
It's great.
Did you,
It's great.
Bryce? Did you throw Starbuck out there as a?
Oh yeah, for sure. And she was
All right.
great. Like she was and Battlestar had great female heroines.
Wait,
in
you're
it.
talking about Dirk Benedict? That's a he.
You go back behind the fern, Bill. Just go behind the fern.
Oh, sorry.
Just hide in the Amazon.
I'm like Zach Galifianakis.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see what Star Wars does. It's not dead to me yet. Not dead yet.
Not dead yet. I think I'm hoping that it'll be great. That's my hope.
I don't know how they can fix it other than do the dream sequence thing. There's too much damage that's been done.
I don't know how big a role is Luke Skywalker in the whole thing though. Like, really, can't they just move on beyond it and now it's in the rear view? See ya. Like
they can, but the problem is that they basically what they've done in the new series is they've dismantled the entire old series, and they've made it like all of our old heroes they're done.
There are old heroes. They're not who they're targeting these at.
You could set up new characters without dismantling the fundamental characters.
You could have, yes, you can, but it wasn't important to them, and so like they're not going to undo any of that.
I think so.
And I find that, and that's the part that's insulting. Pretty much unforgivable.
I agree, but
from my perspective,
there are people out there that basically echo what Mike just said, where they like the new series. They're like, no, you know, whatever. And they really like the new characters too. And I have
those
big
people are
problems.
not invited to dinner.
Yeah. Talked about this stuff. We've been in this tiki bar, and though I do love it in here, I am very curious to see if the Lord Princess back there had any clues to what she was talking about. She seemed like she was in the know about a lot of stuff, and she suggested, and tell me if you guys think I'm reading this wrong so we can get it right. I think what she was suggesting we do is do 1/3 beer, 1/3 wine, and 1/3 some kind of spirit, like whiskey or vodka or rum. And you mix those together and...
That riddle that you were talking about,
Right.
she was talking about.
Right, I think that's what she's suggesting.
Wait, guys, do we really want to get out of here? Like, this is all right.
Actually, it's true, but it would be nice to get out a little bit. I mean, I don't want to be. We could go hang out like in real life. I mean,
the real question that I've got is: do we leave the bar and no time has passed, or do we leave the bar and like regular time has passed, or do we leave the bar and like 70 years have passed?
Like the alien Tic Tac aliens could be just the dominant species on Earth when we get out of it. Bryce, you will be our ambassador. You will be our ambassador to the Tic Tac aliens when we get out of this.
All right, so I'm just curious. So I'm gonna pour some of this milk stout nitro into this glass that I just pulled from up there in the bar.
Should we join you? I think we should do it too. We'll follow your lead.
So all right, so here goes some nitro in a glass, and then what did you guys get for wine?
I just grabbed one off the shelf here.
I've got one that's got kind of a tree on it. Yeah, sure.
I got some Chianti. That's what I got.
I got a Cabernet. This is a Cabernet.
All right, so we're gonna mix some.
All right.
Some red wine. What do you got, Mike?
Don't they say beer before liquor?
Just about to say
It's a plain blue bottle, which looks like maybe what my wife has done in the past.
Interesting. All right, and then for your spirits, I pulled something off the bar that's from Michigan, of all places, and it's chocolate cake liqueur.
Oh my God, chocolate cake!
I figured if I did left-hand milk stout plus red wine at Chianti, which is a little sweet, and chocolate cake, maybe it'll actually be good.
Yeah, I'm manning up. I got some Jack Daniels. That's going in.
I've got some rye from Detroit, and we're going to answer our question around the nitro stout plus some rye and a little bit of red wine in the mix.
All right. I don't know. I guess
doesn't smell that bad.
No, mine smells like a dessert. To be honest, mine smells like when you get those like chocolate cakes with like a raspberry sauce on it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you put chocolate cake liqueur in it.
Because I'm not a dummy. Because I'm not a dummy. All right, well, I guess we'll find out real quick if we're going to be on the other side, fellas. So,
nice knowing you.
Salute dinner or more.
Bottoms up.
What could possibly go wrong?
I'm out.
I'm free.
I made it out.
I'm free. I'm free.
Are you guys happy to see me? No.
I'm cold. I'm cold. I'm cold.
24 hours after we leave the game. Wine tasting.
2017 Prefectus from the Illuminati.
So here we are at Peninsula Cellars Winery. I just want to point a couple things out. One, on that board over there, and we can cut away to it, you'll see and if you come back over this way, Jen, you'll notice that down here there's a whole thing full of animal crackers. This is the most woke Taverncast vineyard I think I've ever seen.
Hi, Infernal Bill here from Taverncast. We are about to try the Lime scooters. I'm here with none other than Aloysius. That's right. And we are now going to be riding on Lime scooters. Bryce, Aloysius, how do you feel about that?
I'm excited about the Lime scooter.
Yep.
I'm excited that it was designed in California where, you know, everything is better. It's been designed to be ecologically safe and
That's
secure.
true.
It's designed to be diverse.
Yeah.
It's designed to be open-minded.
Anyway, that's fascinating. So we are about to ride these Lime scooters throughout LA. Hi, this is Infernal Bill from Taverncast. We are here at the Santa Monica Pier, and by we, I mean me and this guy. This guy, none other than Aloysius.
I'm getting some B-roll on an iPhone.
How do you feel about the Santa Monica Pier?
I mean, it's nice. It's a tourist trap. Don't look at me. I feel like I need to point this out as well. That is BE. It's my initials. That is my wine. A little bit, except for it doesn't have the, you know, the stuff. Yeah, so we got Hawkeye has a vineyard here in northern Michigan, and I have a vineyard here in northern Michigan. And then there's these chicks back here. I have no idea who they are.
Fans.
Fucking fans.
This is 445 cases of wine in each tank.
How much wine?
1,048 gallons.
You think you could drink one all by yourself?
Hold on.
Maybe.
Say that again. What are we drinking today?
Hey! We're at Bryce, more properly pronounced Bryce Irwin Vineyard, drinking their Cap Franc.
Thank God we got out of that game.
This is really good. Really, really good. For a Michigan wine, this is a delicious wine. There you go. That's what we're drinking.
Hi, this is Infernal Bill from Taverncast. We are here on the Santa Monica Pier, world famous with, sorry, what's your name? Deepji. Abby. Daniel. Alfredo. Eliana.
Jordan.
And
Jamie.
Gary. And
Emily. Alexis. And your name is?
Juraimi.
I'm not even going to try, but so I know everybody's talking about it. How do you guys feel about the return of Taverncast?
We have no idea, Liz. Yeah.
Thanks, VG. This guy. So, do you guys listen to podcasts very much?
Occasionally, yeah. Usually on road trips.
Oh, do you ever listen to like online gaming podcasts?
Not often. Not much. I can say I do.
Yeah.
How excited are you about the return of Taverncast?
Wow. ¿Qué dijo? Que sí, ¿cómo están de
Taverncast. This is sort of a universal Taverncast.
Yep.
See, so you definitely know games, online games. Do a little bit. All right.
Yeah, but
if you guys could choose to be a character in World of Warcraft, what would it be? Elf.
I kind of want to be an undead.
Undead.
Yeah.
And why would you want to be an undead? Sort of an interesting choice.
So like you would, I don't know, I'm a human, so I'd want to, I don't know.
And that is exactly why most people choose to be undead.
I've always been a maker, a behind-the-scenes kind of guy. So when you know, Bill will walk up to people and he'll be like, "Yeah, I'm Infernal Bill, schmooze, 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 I'm the most awesome guy ever, and you want to talk to me." And I get up there, and Bill's like, "Go talk to them."
And go bright.
No,
Gary.
Hey guys, so did you hear that Taverncast is now the #1 channel on YouTube?
No.
Voted on by the fans.
That's gotta feel great.
When we're not on Taverncast, we're sampling wine.
Mari Village is closing at 5 p.m. for a private event. For the Illuminati!
Oh man, good thing we're out of the game.
Man, would you play that game again? Would you even risk it? I don't know if I'd want to go back. What if we get stuck again?
I was so
This is
close
nice.
to leveling though. I was just a couple more bars.
Yeah. I mean, do I want to play? I want to play. Well, what could go wrong? Interworld. See, like I thought. No problem. Oh, you gotta be kidding me! What?
Oh no.
This is some horse shit.